where we'll be making a very basic model with all the structure elements, walls, doors, and windows. So let's start. So for walls, we'll be discussing how to create them, what are wall families, how we can select families, what is a wall location line. Please remember we discussed this yesterday as well. Today we'll discuss this in detail. Height and depth constraints for a wall, compound wall and other wall layers. So if you remember, if we go to edit type, we can go ahead, see the section and also create different layers for a wall. Sweeps and reveals are also there, and we can also edit profile of a wall. So creating walls. It is quite easy. The shortcut for creating a wall is WA. You can right away click on WA and get into it, or you can go to the architecture tab where you will find the wall icon. You can click on it, or you can go to the drop down menu here. As you can see on this screenshot, you can click on architectural, structural, or by face. Once you are creating masses in advanced level, then you'll be able to create wall by face. But structural wall and architectural wall is very simple, and I demonstrated it yesterday as well. So very simply, after choosing either structure or architecture, you can go ahead in the properties panel and choose the family you want. There are multiple default wall families that you can choose from. If that doesn't suit your requirement, you can simply duplicate that file, duplicate that wall family, and go ahead, rename it and change it to your desired specifications. Here you can see we can choose between basic walls. We have curtain walls as well for glass fronts and stacked walls. Moving ahead. So these are three types of wall families. Basic, you can see a basic has either one material or a compound of layers of materials, a stacked wall where there will be a protrusion and a reveal space, and a curtain wall where there will be glass and a frame. This frame you can denote the frame material. So you can give it either as aluminium, UPVC, metal, whatever. So location line property specifies which of its vertical planes is used to position the wall in relation to the path you sketch or otherwise specify in the drawing area. That means that even if you're creating a line, a rectangle, or picking a line, it where the wall is placed uh, will matter as per the location line. So if you choose finish face exterior, that would mean that let's see this cross section of this wall. The exterior face of the wall will face the exterior side. So similarly, if you choose wall center line, that would mean that your wall or the snap of your wall will start from the center. This will be more clear in the demonstration, but you can see, you might be able to imagine the use cases that maybe if I'm making column center to center, I can use wall center line. If I'm just making a wall with a floor beneath it, I can use finish face exterior. Height and depth constraints. Of course, when we are making a wall, we would also need to input two things, which is the depth or the base constraint and the height constraint of a wall. So these can be given once you set levels in a project. You can easily set the height and depth of a particular wall. Let's say the base constraint can be L1 and the top constraint can be L2. So the wall will be something like this in image number 3. There are two options when we are creating walls. Either we can choose the depth. So depth can be any level that is below the level you are making it on, making the wall on, or it can also be unconnected. When you choose unconnected, you can enter whatever value you require the wall to be in. This is the same for height. In height also, if I'm making on level 1, I will be able to choose level 2, or if there was a level 3, I would have chosen that. Or I could also do unconnected and maybe give the height as say 3 feet or a little more than that, 1500 to make a parapet wall. If there is any confusion, if you have been practicing since yesterday and you are facing some errors or have doubts, please feel free to send the questions or ask me by raising your hand. Next, we have compound walls. So a generic wall just has, one material. Sometimes the material is also unassigned. So nothing material is there, just 3D geometry. What we can do is, like shown yesterday, I can go to edit type and this particular window will open. In this window, I can click on edit of this structure and that will open up this edit assembly for me. Here you see we have a table with all the layers that are existent in the wall. On top is the exterior side and on bottom is the interior side. So very easily, like we have in this example, I can make a compound wall of whatever layers I require. Let's say in the Indian climate, the areas that we practice in, we would maybe require brick, we would require plaster, we would require paint, and maybe some insulation if you are working in colder regions. So all that can be added in this window. Finally, we also have edit profile. So once we've made a wall, we can easily go ahead, double click on that wall after selecting it or clicking on this edit profile, which is visible in the first screenshot, and we'll be easily able to edit the wall that we have. So this example, you can see in screenshot one, there is a wall that has been selected. It is quite a thin wall, let's say 95 or 100 so it works like a screen or an interior partition, a screen jali. For this, I can just go ahead, edit profile, and you can see whatever shapes I draw into that will be cut out in screenshot number 3. It is visible as a say jali cutout. So edit profile is another very useful feature. All right, please allow me to open up another presentation. If there are any questions, I look forward to them. One thing to remember is that all the functionality that I am discussing about walls is actually existing for each and every component there is in Revit. So let's say I am adding a structural column, structural wall, floor, roof. Each and every part will have an edit type, will have some parameters that I can work with and edit it according to my requirement. So let's just see doors and windows and you'll realize that this is the settings for these is also quite similar to what we just discussed about walls. We'll be going over placing doors in curtain walls, door properties, placing windows, window properties. So here you can see placing doors. Quite simple, just like we chose walls, we can choose doors. And here you can see by selecting a door, we'll get into a properties panel where we could select the particular family door. Here you can see one family has been imported, M single flush, and it has multiple dimensions as well. Of course, if you go ahead, click on that door, then go to edit type. First, you can see that the door has this instant properties. So this is what you would be able to see in your Revit properties panel when you have selected a door. Here you can change your door level. Right now it is at level 1. If I wanted, this could change to level 2, level 3. Sill height is there. So I can provide 1 inch, 2 inch sill height, and maybe I could provide a stone slab or a tile. We have frame material, frame finish, and we also have identity mark. Mark is quite important when you are doing annotations for your drawings. If most of you use CAD, you would know how to create door window schedules. And in those schedules, we mostly mark doors and windows as D1, D2, D3, W1, W2. However, your organization's nomenclature may be, this is that tag that you have to give. So right now the mark is 1. That means that if I place this door and then add a door tag, it will give me the symbol as 1. So to maybe change it to D1, I can simply in the properties panel only change the mark to D1, and the tag will also appear as D1. I hope that is clear. That is for another session, but just because it has come up, I am discussing it. Same is phasing. So by default, we studied yesterday in the first presentation that a project can be divided into multiple phases. So if you have phases created, you will be able to change into that phase. If not, by default, Revit has two phases. One is existing and second is new construction. So whatever you do will actually come under the new construction phase. Here, if you are maybe doing renovation projects, you can make existing the whole model of the existing building, mark all of it as existing phase, then start creating something in the new construction phase. With that, you'll also be able to compare and view all of those changes. Then we also have head height. So head height will change the height of the door, but I recommend not to change the height from here. What we can do, which is better, is that we can go to edit type, click on it, and this window will open. This is the second screenshot. Here you can see that we can do some more changes for this particular door type, door family. We can change the function. We can give the door material and frame material as well. That is why I didn't discuss it earlier, because this is a better place to edit it. We can change the door frame material to wood, maybe dark wood, something that we have imported, and we can change all the dimensions of the door as well, because of course you won't find exact families all the time for your design. Here you can go into specificities and change the dimensions as per your requirements. Next is placing windows. So quite similar to placing doors only. And you can see I can go ahead, select a window, select the type of window, and I can go ahead and place it. All of these items, both doors and windows, can be placed in floor plan, elevation, section, and even the 3D view. So whatever you are comfortable with or whatever particular view you are working on, you can go ahead and add all these in those views. Similarly to doors, windows also has an instance property which comes in the properties palette. Here we can change the level, we can change the sill height, we can change the mark and the phase. Also, by going to edit type, I'll be able to change the windows material and the dimensions as well. You can see all these dimensions have been mentioned and they can be changed. All right, so thank you so much for staying put. Let me just go ahead and open up Revit to start with the demonstration. All right. So Revit has opened up. I will go ahead and make a new project again, just like I did yesterday, so that we can revise a bit on how to set up a project and then go ahead and make a small structure. So to create a new model, I will click on new and I will choose the metric template. The things that I did yesterday, I'll be doing with a little bit of speed and less explanation. If you require any explanation, please let me know. The things that I haven't covered, I'll be covering in detail. All right, so you can see our project has opened up. We have our project browser. I can maybe open the 3D view, and I'll also go ahead, check the units once. So units are in mm, that's fine for me. And I can also go ahead to a particular elevation, let's say north, and start setting up my levels. Here I'll go to architecture level, or I'll use the shortcut LL, which is for level, and you can see I am in the place level setting. Here I will just go ahead and pick a line, choose the offset to be as 3600, and I will go ahead and create some levels. I think these many are enough. Now, because these don't have heads, I can just go ahead, select them, give them heads, and also rename them. So L1 will be GL, L5 will be foundation, L2 will be FF, and so on. All right. So if you notice one thing, that I have created these levels, but they have not actually appeared as floor plans. Why is that? Because when I was placing levels, I did not actually select create plan view. So I did not select that. Because of that, the floor plans have not been created. Now, how can I create floor plans as per these levels? Let me show you. First, let me just rename L1 to GL and L2 to FF. Okay, so to add new floor plans, what I will do is I will go to view, and here I will select plan views, floor plan. These are the levels for which the floor plans haven't been created. I will select all of them and click on OK. You can see now the floor plans have appeared. All right, so now the levels are set. Let's just go ahead and create a topo solid which will act as the site of this project. So I will just go ahead to massing and site. In my site plan, go to topo solid and just create a regular rectangle. Okay, I think this is too big. Yes. All right, so this has been created. Now let's go ahead and add a structural floor. You'll notice that yesterday I created a PL plinth level as well. Right now I have not. This is another approach that I am doing just to show you that after learning we can use multiple approaches to uh, solve a single design problem. There is not just one way to do it in this software. So we don't have a PL. Let's just go ahead and start at GL only. So which is my ground level. Here I can see the topo solid. Let me just manually center it using my arrow keys. And here I will go to now the structure tab and add a floor. So you can see from structure also I can choose a floor, or go in architecture tab also. I can go to the floor drop down and choose a structural floor. By choosing, everything else is same, like making a architectural floor. So I can just simply go ahead, maybe choose a rectangle, and I can choose the floor to be as say 300 is fine, and I will create a rectangle. Okay, let's say I want to create a specific rectangle of 15 meter by 15 meter. So very simply I'll just select this line, enter 15 here, and I will select the other side line and select input 15 again. This also I will hold and center and then press on tick. What is the warning that is coming? Highlighted topo solid and floor overlap. That means that what a topo solid was there existing and our floor is on the same level, same plane, and that is why they are overlapping. Let's see, and I will show you how we can solve this. So let me go to 3D first. Okay, here it looks perfectly fine. I don't think there is a problem. But oh wait, now when I select it, you can see that this particular blue pattern is glitching out. So whenever this is happening in your Revit model, that means that two geometries are overlapping each other. They are at the same level, they are at the same plane, and that is why Revit is getting confused on which to display. I hope it is clear. Now to solve it, it is a very simple solution. I will just select the floor, and it is already selected, and I will change the offset. So in properties tab, you can see it is written height offset from level. This I can give as maybe 300 because the floor is 300 thick. That is why the whole floor will then come out. Or I could maybe do the half of 300. So let's say 150. So half of the floor is within the ground and half of it is up. In this way also, without making a PL level, you can easily manage to create all the plinth geometry. Okay, one more pro tip and feature of Revit that people learn later on is that we can actually do little bit of formulas within these data input boxes itself. So just like we have in let's say Excel, what I can do is to make it 300, I can enter the formula as is equal to 150 multiplied by 2. I hope everybody can see is equal to 150 multiplied by 2. When I press enter, the value will actually change to 300. So again, not required in such small values, but if you're doing something complex, this becomes very useful. So again, I can do 1 equals to 150 divided by 2. Enter, and it is now 75. So how much ever I want, I can do. Let's say I will keep it as 150. All right. I'll also go ahead and save this file. By clicking on this cube below my model space, I have graphic display options. From here, I can turn on the texture to realistic, and here you can see I can see the difference as well. If I again make it 0, it will again start overlapping and will not provide me with the correct feedback. If I maybe just want a very minimum change, I can just, change this to 5 which actually will not make that much of a difference, but for our model, it will. So these are this what I'm telling right now. This just does not relate to this specific floor wall. This relates to everything in Revit. So you might face a clash like this between maybe a column and a wall and a wall, two floors, or anything like that. All right. Now let's create a very simple structural grid and also start placing structural columns. Because as you know, this is a structural floor. So everything we'll be doing as per the structural design. Let me go to GL, and here let's just start placing the grid. From where can I place the grid? I can go to architecture tab, and on the side of level, there is the option for grid. I will click on it, And here you can see I can start placing the grid. I can place a grid in a curve as well, in an arc, or I can do a multi-segment grid as well. Sometimes when it's a large building, or L-shaped or a T-shaped building, we require multi-segment grids as well. So once you turn it on, you will be able to create a double line. Right now, let me just go ahead and do a pick line with this wall so that I am accurate as well. So I will do a pick line and I will keep the offset as 125. So here you can see placing 1, 2, 3, 4. So this was one way because I used pick line. That is why the line is so close to the floor plate. Let me just go ahead and select one line. You can see I am unable to do it. I can, if I'm unable to select anything, I would just hover around that thing and press on tab. So I can press on tab multiple times and it will show me the options that I can select. So by pressing on tab, you can see I can select this grid line. Now I will just extend it a bit because usually it is not so close, and I will select this one as well and extend it a bit. Also, okay, because this is vertical and this is horizontal, we can change the name of these lines as well. So let's say 1 and 2 are okay. This we can give as A and B. To do that, I will again select a grid line. So I have selected 4, and here you can see in the properties tab there is name. So name right now is 4. I will change that to A, capital A actually, and same thing I will repeat for this grid line number 3. Now you see we have our structural grid placed. Very easy. If you are tracing, you can again pick line over the structural grid line itself and easily make the structure. Okay, so why did we do this? Of course, this is important in terms of, passing drawing. You need this in your working drawings, but you could add this later as well. Sometimes what people do is people add the columns, then they add the grid. So the reason we did this first is because we can actually now go to column and place columns automatically. So I will navigate to column now in architecture tab and choose a structural column. Here I'll have some default families loaded with me, but I will ignore them for now because these are all steel columns, and I will go ahead and choose load family. Here I will go back to my metric library, US, and finally I will select structural columns where I can choose maybe concrete and a square column. Sounds good. I will open it and you can see I can go ahead and start placing it. But instead of placing it manually, what I will do is I will click on add grids. This will place the columns automatically upon the grid lines. But before this, I will actually choose the depth as well. So depth can be at foundation and height will be at TF. So I think that is good. Now let me just go ahead and click on add grids. I will click on finish. Okay. After clicking on add grids, we need to actually select the grid lines that we want to place the columns on. So I will go ahead and select the grid lines by holding on control. And I will now finish, and you can see that the columns have been placed. Of course, for the sake of this class and the speed, this is a little bit inaccurate, but you can definitely create a more accurate placement for these columns. Now I could use this modify tool or MV to actually pick this column and place it at this corner. That is one option. or I could also use align if it works. So let's see if align works. I will click on AL, which is the shortcut for align. Then I will choose the line which I want uh, it to be aligned with, and then I will choose the column line. So yes, you can see it is working. Similarly, I will choose this, and yes, it has worked. So align can work like this, very similar to what we have in AutoCAD. Now you see, even if I had some inaccuracy, I could easily solve it using a few commands. Not even a few commands, just one command actually. And I will just go ahead, Control S and view it in 3D. Now you see our columns are visible. They are going from the ground level till the second floor. All right. To maybe change it, let's change them to, no, they are going till the third floor, but I also want them to extend till the foundation level. So for that, I have selected all the columns and I will give the base level as foundation. Here you can see they have extended till the foundation as well. Let's now give foundations. So for that, I will go to foundation plan, and here you can see the columns are already visible. Even the grid is visible. Here, let me just give a simple footing on all four of these columns. For that, I can go to structure, and here under foundation, I can either choose isolated, wall or slab. Slab is just creating is just like creating a floor. Wall will be done if we have a structural wall that is going below. Right now we don't have a wall that is going till the foundation level, or we can for right now we can choose this isolated footing. So I will choose, and here I can choose the type as well, or I could go ahead, click on edit type and change the width and thickness of the foundation as per my requirement, and then I can simply place it at grids, or manually also I can go ahead and place it. So let me just choose at grids, or instead let me just choose at columns, which will be more precise for our example. So it is the same. If you choose add columns or add grid, you will have to choose either the grid line or the columns, which I am doing right now by holding on control. I have selected all of them. By clicking on finish, the foundations will be created. But there is an error. None of the created elements are visible in floor plan. Why is that? Because actually we have created the footing at foundation level. So that means that the footing of 450 mm depth is actually finishing at the foundation level. Let's just go ahead and understand this in 3D. So yes, you can see, let me just go ahead and cross this warning as well. So you can see now that the foundations have been placed, but they are actually at a lower level than the foundation plan. So one option is that maybe I can change the offset of this footing and the offset of this column to move it upwards in the Z direction. But one option is also there that I can go to foundation level, and here by clicking on a white space, I will again go to my view properties. Here I can scroll down to view range. Please make note of this. This is comes in quite handy when you're doing advanced stuff. You can click on view range, and here you will have this particular setting from which you can choose the top plane, the bottom plane, and the height of the cut plane as well. This is basically where we are viewing our plan from. Generally we view it maybe from 4 feet or 4.5 feet, something like that, and this can be changed. So right now we need to view the bottom, not the top, because our foundation is at the bottom of this level. So I can choose it as unlimited, and the view depth I can also choose as unlimited. So when I click on apply, you can see even in this view the foundation will be visible. So this is one way I could do unlimited. But if I do unlimited, maybe there is some other working in this level that I have done in some other place of this project. Because of that, that may be visible as well. So I can also choose, say, associate level, again foundation level, and give the offset as -500. Here also -500. Click on OK, and you can see the foundation will still be visible. Now, because we are placing structural components and elements, structural plans are also being made side by side. If we go into the project browser and look at it, you can see under structural plans, we have this and this. So L1 was GL and L2 was FF, and you can see it has the structural floor in view and even the column. If I want to create another structural plan, maybe I can go to view again, plan views, and here I can choose structural plan and create a foundation structure plan as well. All right, let me just view the 3D ones. Yes. Now let's go ahead and create walls. Just give me 1 minute. All right. So first, let me just create a basic wall, and then we can get into how we can detail it out, maybe change it according to our specifications. So to make a wall on GL, I can go to GL, and here, because I have a column of 300 mm. Okay, if I wanted to change the thickness of this column, I think you might already know by now. You can go to edit type, and here you can see I have B, which is the width of this column, because this is a square column. So I can change this to 450 or whatever I require, and the whole column will be changed. So for walls, we have WA, and here I will go ahead and choose a generic 300 mm wall, which will be as thick as this column. And the top constraint I will give as first floor, and the location line I will keep as wall center line. Why is that? Because I will be snapping with the columns. Here you can see my this triangle is defining the midpoint snap for this column, and very easily I can just go ahead and just pan a bit. So this movement also, if you're using Revit for the first time, it will take a bit for you to learn and move pan with your mouse. But once you get the hang of it, it is quite easy. And here you can see I have connected the wall on the other end. Revit gives us the option to continue making the wall. That can be the case, but for this particular example, you can see I want the wall from here, not from where this is continuing. So I can just press on escape. Going to 3D. Yes, you can see the wall has been made. So let me please continue this process on all the sides. All right, so walls have been made, but when I zoom in, you'll notice a problem. You can see that this particular wall is actually going through this column and connecting with this wall. Because of that, again an overlap geometry is being created. So again, a very common problem while drafting, this happens a lot. So to maybe solve this, okay, on this side it is not happening, I think. Ah, yes, it is not happening because I took center to center, but I don't know because of some reason this is overlapping. So to solve this, what I can do, I can simply go ahead and choose join. Here you can see in the modify tab, when I have selected the walls, I have join option. I will just click on this option and then click on the wall and then the column. You can see now the wall and column have been joined. This is a way of telling the software that okay, you can distinguish between these two geometries, and please make sure that they are not overlapping but joining. So again I did, and now you will be able to see that that error is no longer there. Great. Okay, so now let's learn how to edit a profile for a particular wall. Here we have this wall. This is on the western end of the building. So I will also open the west elevation for this, and you can see the wall is selected. So what I can do is I can click on this edit profile button, or I can also go ahead and double click on the wall. This will actually give me a pink line outline of the whole wall. Now, why did I open the elevation? Because of course this is a perspective view or a 3D view, and here it is quite difficult to actually draw in 3D. So it is best to go to an elevation view for this, and here I can go ahead and edit the profile however I want. So what does that mean? Let me just go ahead, do some editing and show it to you. Let's just create an arc over here, maybe an arc again over here. This of course might not be realistic, but for the sake of this example I am showing you. All right, so let's say we have all these forms available with us. A little bit, a little short cut that I want to tell you here right now is that we used TR yesterday for trim. We also have one more which is called slice or split. So split is SL, and we can use split to cut walls, cut openings, or you can say we can also cut these particular lines. You'll be able to see in the video as well. So very simply I will just click on SL, and it will actually cut this line into two lines for me. Why is that important? You will just see in a minute that after cutting all these lines from here, now when I do TR and just keep the lines that I want by clicking on the lines that I require, I will be actually able to do a connected loop like this. Now you can see we have made quite a different shapes, and let me just go to 3D and press on tick. Here you can see that whatever kind of profile that we made has been actually converted into a wall. This is right now a generic wall, but if you had multiple layers in this wall, say you had a glass layer or something else, uh, let's say I want to add another 25 layer and clicked on OK, it would still work. So you can see by adding that thickness, it actually covered the whole column. Not from here, just from there, I think. I can also provide glass between this particular wall. So how we can do that? Let me first convert a basic wall into a glass and then show you. So this is a wall. I can simply just go ahead and change the family of this wall to a storefront wall. And here you can see I have this curtain wall ready for me. This can be changed as well. So here you can see in edit type, I can go or I can change the vertical grid from here. So let's say I want to change the angle of the vertical grid to 25 degrees. It will do that and create slant framing for me. Similarly, I can just select it again, go to edit type, and here I have the vertical grid on what kind of layout do I require for that grid. So right now it is at maximum spacing and fixed distance. Let me just give this a fixed number and adjust for mullion size and horizontal grid. I will give a distance of not 2400 actually. Let me just increase it a bit to 2500. 2650. Clicking on OK, you can see this particular grid has moved and the other one, the horizontal grid has moved. The other one, the vertical one, can be changed using these numbers. So let's say I just want 3 divisions. I will enter 3 in my properties tab and it will get changed. So it is on you how you want to customize this and change this. Let me make it say 4. And here we have 4. To maybe change a panel, you can see I am hovering over the wall and I am clicking on tab to be able to select a particular panel. Now you can see this panel has been selected. If I have a glass door imported in my project, I can simply change this panel as well. So I will just click on this to unpin it, and from here I can go ahead and change it. Right now I don't have a door, but if I did, I could easily change it from here. First, let me just go ahead and change the number to say 12. All right. So this is one way. This was a storefront curtain wall, which has the framing detail as well. But we could also just create a glass wall. For that, I will go to my GL and here I will find the wall with the cutouts. It is this one. And very simply, I will press WA for a wall and go ahead and choose a curtain wall not defined. This is just a basic simple glass wall and I'll simply just go ahead and place it. You can see highlighted walls overlap, but for this case I required that, and now you can see that that glass has been added for the cutouts. Of course, with more detailing, framing can also be made and all details can be done. But right now we are just focused on basic modeling on how you can just get started with this software. Next, let's just go ahead and place a few doors and windows as well. So I can just choose a door, load a family like we did yesterday. Maybe go to doors. Here I can find something in residential maybe. Select the sizes that I require and very simply go ahead and add this door. You can see I have added this door in 3D, but it is actually overlapping because we have not created a plinth level. We have just created a GL level. And because of that, we had given an offset to this floor. Let me just select that floor of 150 mm. That means that even while adding a door or even multiple doors, let me just select all of them, I would actually have to provide the sill height of 150 as well. And because of that, now you can see the door is not overlapping. However, the wall is still overlapping. So that can also be changed. I'll select the walls and give the base offset of 150. You can see now the overlapping has been avoided. For this one, let me just check. Okay, the base offset I'll change again 150, and now you can see nothing is overlapping. I'll go ahead and add a few windows as well. So some default windows. Right now I am just adding it in 3D, but still it has snapped into a perfect level. If they were not on a perfect level, maybe I could have gone to a particular elevation. So this was, I think, east elevation, and here I could use the align command to align it according to my dimensions. There is one more very simple tool called model line which can be used. So this particular model line, you can see I have selected here. This is an architecture tab. This can be used to make whatever in your drawings, because once you are, making a working drawing or designing and you are using multiple lines, model line will be your friend, which will, be there as your working line. If you might remember your college time, when we used to do hand drafting, the lines that we erased, those lines can be here can be replaced with model lines. So very simply, I could have chosen a plane. So after choosing the model line, I chose this wall on which I wanted to draw. And here I can maybe just go ahead and create this line and then align all these windows with this line. So align, click on the line and then click on the window. And now you can see the window has been aligned. Same thing I will repeat for the other windows. And here you can see they have been aligned. I'll delete the model line again because it was just for this purpose. It has been deleted, or we can keep it as well and hide it later on using visibility graphics. If there are any questions, please feel free to send them or raise your hand. Next, let's just go ahead and see how we can add a very simple beam system. So to add our first beam system, we would have to go to our first floor level. So FF, here we can already see the column and the wall, because why? The base layer has already been set to GL. So that's great. Half of the work is done. Now let's just go ahead and place the beams. For that, I will go to structure and here I will click on beam. Here also you will see we have some steel beams loaded by default, but what I will do is I will go ahead and load a family. Here I will go back and find structural framing, concrete, and here I have a concrete rectangular beam which I will open. You can see it has been loaded here in the properties tab. I can also go ahead, maybe edit the type. So right now the depth or height here is 800 mm, which is a lot. Let me just go ahead, duplicate it and change the depth to 300 and the width to 200. No, I think the column was 300. So let's just keep it 300 only. This is right now just the rename that we are doing. Actually, we would have to change from here. So that also now we have done after duplicating, and I will click on OK. So now this is loaded, and very simply I can now place the beam on the grid. So I will select on grids and go ahead and select all the grid lines. Finish. Okay, let me just try again. I think there was some error. No, during this one. Okay, I'm trying again on grid lines. Okay, there might be some reason this is not working. Let me just go ahead and choose the default beam that we had and see if it works. All right, so there seems to be some problem with this. This worked in the previous class, but now I think this on-grid placement is not working. That is fine. Let's just go ahead and place these beams manually and see if that works or not. So I will go ahead and use pick lines. Yeah. And here I will carefully select the lines that I want to place the beam on. Okay, so even pick lines doesn't have all the options here. So this would not be accurate. I will just go ahead and draw. So from center of the column till the center of the other column and so on. Here you can see I have placed the beam. Let's just go ahead and see. Okay, so this was, I think, the problem. The reference level has been set, but due to some reason, the level offset was 7.2 meters. So I am doing this in front of you. I didn't do anything relating to this, but somehow this happened. No problem. This is also a part of Revit only to see where the error is happening and to catch hold of those errors. So I will just change the start level offset to 0 and even the end level offset to 0. Yeah. So yes, that worked. And like this, manually, we can add a beam. We can change the dimensions of this. So let's say we want a 300 by 300. Yes. So this is also available. Just the automatic placement wasn't working. I think the reason might be that the columns that we made, we actually shifted and aligned to a different location on the floor. Because of that, this may be giving a problem. But just like this, we can place a beam and this beam will also be visible in the structural plan. Here you can see the beam is visible. So this similarly, you can repeat this process for all four sides or wherever you want the beam to be at. Next, let me just quickly copy this ground level floor to the first floor. First, second and third as well. Okay, let's see. Yeah, we have copied this floor. Okay, I don't think we would require this top one. I'll delete this one. Okay, now let's just move on to roof. Before that, I will just complete the structure by copying one of the walls, or I will just create a new curtain wall on the first floor. So again, going to WA for wall, curtain wall, I will keep as storefront and I will use a rectangle right now for speed. And very simply, you can see that I am able to create a curtain wall. Okay, so the midpoint I think is this only. Yes. Just doing some editing. Number I will keep as 12, and this can be then copied on the other floor as well. Perfect. So let me just go ahead and delete this top slab from the third floor on which we will be making the roof. All right. So this is our structure. Now let me just go to the third floor and here let's just create a roof. But to create that footprint, I would actually want to see what is below. So I will go ahead and choose ground level, apply. And here you can see that this is almost the case. So I can take the offset from the structure grid as well. So I will just turn it off. Then I can go to roof. We have multiple ways to create roofs. First is roof by footprint, which we'll be creating today. We have roof by extrusion as well, where you can sketch out and create a roof. And we have roof by face, which can be done once you have created a mass, then you can create that roof. So roof by footprint, then I can just go ahead and click on pick lines and give the offset as 1200 and choose the roof as wood rafter 184 mm. Very simply, I'll just go ahead and choose these. Now you see the line is extending a bit, so I will use TR to trim those extra lines. And here you can see that we have made the roof. Once I click on tick, you'll be able to see that the roof has been created. Course, this is a hollow roof, more detail has to be added. But first, what can be adjusted is the slope angle. As I have selected the roof, you can see in the properties palette, the slope is right now at 36 degrees. I can maybe change it to 21 degrees and the slope will be compliant with building bylaws as per India. Similarly, I could also change the cut. So right now it is a plumb cut. I could also do a two cut plumb. So now when I go ahead, there will, or I could also do a square cut. So you can see the difference. All right. Now we have created a roof, but it is sloping on all of the sides. How can we change this? Let's just go ahead and see. By double clicking on it, I again went to the edit profile or edit footprint, and here you can see that these small triangles are there. When I select on these, you can see that either I can change the angle, this is the angle symbol, or I can, by unchecking this defines slope, I can remove the angle in itself. By doing this, let me just do this for three of the sides. This means that only now one of the slopes will decide the angle. Now when I click on tick and go to my 3D view, okay, this is my 3D view, you will be able to see that this is sort of a shed type roof. So this can be adjusted, maybe like a single side slope can be given, or again I can go back and check define slope for three sides, leave one side, and it will give me an output something like this, which I can adjust the angle of and get my desired output. You can see right now that this roof is actually at a distance from the whole structure. That might be because there might be some offset, which there is not. So let's just fix it. I will go to my north and I will check what is the issue. Okay, let's just do a quick dimension. So quick access dimension is here. I will just go ahead, see. Okay, 215 is there. So I will just go ahead, select this roof and give the base offset as minus 215. With this, you can see that the roof has joined and is at a level, good level. Similarly, maybe I also want to extend these columns till the roof. Right now you can see they are not, and the roof is actually just hanging in the air by itself. So very simply I will just go ahead and select all these columns. So this one, right? And now I can, after selecting these columns, I can choose attach top slash base. And by after doing this, I can select the roof, which is the top of this column. And you can see that the structural columns have been extended till the roof. Of course, because these are structural members, they would actually end with a beam system, and that beam system would have further framing to support the roof. But right now, the purpose of this particular session is to get you started with basic modeling. So, those are some details that you can start working with once you have all these basics sorted out. Same thing can be done for this wall as well. You can see, be it a curtain wall or a normal wall, doesn't matter. I can also go ahead and click on attach top slash base and select this roof. Automatically, okay, I will do it again. Automatically, it will cover the location. It is giving me an error, can't create curtain wall mullion, and I will click on delete elements. Not a problem, because I think on this side it wasn't able to create a horizontal mullion. That is not a problem. This also looks good, and you can see that we have created, connected the wall with the roof. This I can repeat with other sides of the wall as well, so that the building becomes airtight. Done. Please let me check today's syllabus and see if I have missed something. Until then, if you have any questions, please raise your hand, or you can also send in your questions via text on this Zoom app. All right. So we have covered everything that is there in today's session. Just one particular functionality is left. So let's just understand that as well. It is regarding the wall. So let me approach this wall, and here I will go to wall drop down, and I have two options, which is sweep and reveal. This is again very useful for architects. Sweep, as you can see in the image, it creates sort of a molding, exterior molding on a particular wall, while reveal creates a cutout. So again, you can see in this example, it has created a cutout in the wall. So sweep, the example for a sweep is molding in say POP or exterior moldings, and a reveal can be a cutout in a wall, maybe to accommodate a railing, such as we have in public buildings or hospitals. So let's just add both of these onto this wall and see how we can do it. First, I will select on sweep, and here I already have a sweep family selected. So very simply I can just go ahead and click on the wall I want to set it on. It will just take a few moments, and the sweep will then be added. Here you can see it is added. This is right now a very simple rectangular profile, but once you learn how to create families, you will be able to create a customized profile for this as well, as per your designing. To change it, I can select the cornice, then go to edit type, and here I will find the profile. So you can see profile fascia shape is there, profile shape is there, fascia flat is there. If I click on OK, the profile will get changed. This is one way to add sweeps, and the other way is to create reveals. In this also, the placement is same. I just have to click on reveal and then I can place it on a window. Very simply, it will just cut out that wall for me. I think from this angle, you can see that the wall has been cut. For this also, it is the same. We can select a profile of our liking and cut the wall as per the profile provided. So this would actually be like a cutout or a profile, 2D profile that you make a cut section. If you have used SketchUp before, you might remember that you created a 2D profile or a cut section of a particular molding and then used follow me tool to create it all around the existing building. This is somewhat that, but again, as you will be able to see, it is quite easier than using that particular method in SketchUp. Here you can see a small cutout has been made, which is actually perfect for all wiring and fitments. Alright, so this marks the end of today's session. If there are any questions, please let me know. And I request each and every one of you to start practicing and do at least the commands that I have taught from yesterday till today. It is very simple, just basic commands have been taught, and I believe that if you have listened carefully, you will be able to make a very small scale structure, something like this in front of your screens very easily. So please practice, and while practicing, definitely there would be some doubts that arise, some errors that arise. So I look forward to answering those questions of yours as well. All right, if there are no questions, thank you so much everyone for joining. Keep practicing, and I hope to see you all again tomorrow in another session. Tomorrow we'll be moving forward and we'll be learning advanced modeling so that you can, after this amount of detail, how we can add staircases and other detail elements. We'll be learning that in tomorrow's classes. Thank you so much. I'll be signing off now.